Breaking news, the franchise tag deadline over. 4 players tagged this season, one of them getting a transition tag. That is Daniel Jones getting the transition tag from the Colts. It's worth $37.8 million, but he is now free to negotiate with other teams. The deadline is July the 22nd. The Colts reserve the right to match any offer sheet that anybody puts forth. The other side of this is that because they're using a tag on Daniel Jones, they did not tag Alec Pierce. That makes him a free agent. Also breaking from the NFL at this hour, the Cardinals cutting Kyler Murray. They would owe him around $37 million guaranteed for this upcoming season. Another $20 million or so would have triggered on March 15th. But our Jonathan Jones reporting that this move was expected even before the season was over. The league anticipated a release, so no one made a trade for Kyler Murray because they knew that he would be available. So that's where we're going to start. Chris Hassel, Amanda Guerra, Kyle Long, Pete Prisco. Kyler Murray is out there. Where do we expect him to be next season? Will he be a starter?
Well, all the quarterback-needy teams are going to be making calls on him. I mean, here's what you have to ask yourself. What's the price going to be? And is the price going to be higher than what Malik Willis will get? Will the price be higher than what anybody else on the market?
Who would you rather have?
Kyler Murray. No question about it. Kyler Murray has played games. He's got experience. We don't know what Malik Willis could do. He's only started 4 games, and there's a small sample size. Look, did Kyler Murray have some issues? Yeah, but he's had some good games, and he's had some good years. So I do think that there's going to be a market for him. The question you have to ask yourself, if you're in that market, is, are you committed to him for the long run? And the reason I say that, let's use the New York Jets, for example. If they were to sign Kyler Murray, is he their guy? Are you giving him a long-term deal, or are you making him the stopgap guy until you go into the draft next year, which should be a good quarterback draft? I think those are the questions you have to ask. Where could he go? Let's look at the quarterback-needy teams. Let's start with the Jets. Makes sense. They don't have anybody. But what are you giving him? Are you giving him a 1-year deal, 2-year deal? How are you doing? Are you giving him the Justin Fields deal, 2 years, $40 million? Is he going to take that? The Vikings, they don't have any cap room, and he doesn't seem like a fit in that Kevin O'Connell offense. The Steelers, it looks like Rodgers is going to come back. If he doesn't, I think they could be in play. But where else? Miami? I mean, Miami could be another team. How about this one, the Atlanta Falcons? And the reason I say that, we don't know where Michael Penix is in terms of his health coming off that 3rd knee injury. Are they committed to Michael Penix? This is a new regime. Matt Ryan is in there. Also Kevin Stefanski, the coach. So I think that's a possibility. And I'll give you one more. This will sound crazy, but the Cleveland Browns. We know that Todd Monken likes mobile quarterbacks. When you look at Shedeur Sanders, that's not exactly who he is. When you look at Deshaun Watson, that's not exactly who he is. So could he be in play there for the Cleveland Browns?
I really love some of those ideas, including the Atlanta Falcons. And when I think about playing certain teams, each team presents different issues. You know, when I played against, let's call it the Detroit Lions from the mid-20 teens, it was a toughness battle. You had to go against Ndamukong Suh, Nick Fairley, Willie Young for 70. It was a decision you had to make every play. When you're a defense playing against the Atlanta Falcons, you have nightmares all over the football field. You add Kyler Murray and his athleticism, his arm talent into that, oh my goodness. And there's nobody that I trust more in the evaluation process of quarterbacks than my old colleague, Matt Ryan. So that one really seems to be interesting. And the Malik Willis conversation is interesting too. And I think I'm in agreement with you. Kyler Murray, more expensive than Malik Willis. We don't know if Malik Willis is a Matt LaFleur merchant or not. We've seen Kyler Murray do it a number of times throughout his career. Is he going to take it seriously at this juncture? It's an opportunity to turn over a new leaf, introducing yourself to a new locker room. Most of the complaints we've heard about Kyler Murray come from what? In the meeting room, at home, off the field. This is a new opportunity.
Here's the other part of the equation is now Malik Willis you hear the Cardinals are interested in Malik Willis. He might be the guy taking over for Kyler Murray in Arizona. And Jimmy Garoppolo's in play in there as well if they decide to go that route. But I think Malik Willis could be taking Kyler Murray's job in Arizona.
You and I both know it'll take no more than 20 minutes of practice for them to know if they had the right or the wrong decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's always an interesting thing.
You're paying a guy a boatload of money who's played 4 games. There's risk in that.
Yeah.
Mac Jones still out there also. Let's talk about another quarterback. The Colts deciding to place the transition tag on Daniel Jones today. Pete, you seem to think, look, this does mean they can't tag Alec Pierce. We're going to get to that in a second here. But they are headed toward a long-term deal with Daniel Jones.
Because $37 million is a lot of money for 1 year on your books for Daniel Jones. Could they handle it? Yeah, but you're going to limit what you can do in terms of being able to bring in people who can help them, including Alec Pierce. So I think in the next couple of days, I think we'll see them get a long-term deal done. I don't see a market out there for him for teams that want to go out and try and sign him. And I don't think there's a place for him where he would feel comfortable. He's not going to the Jets because the Jets, New York, he was there already. I don't think he's going back there. The Vikings, he had an opportunity to go back there last year and didn't go there, and they don't have any cap room. So where's he going? The other part of that is teams don't like negotiating the transition tag numbers because they feel like they're doing the work for the other team. For example, if I'm the Jets, I negotiate a deal with Daniel Jones. I do all the work. I put it in there, and then all of a sudden the Colts come back and go, nope, we're matching it. You did their work for him. So teams are reluctant to do that. I've seen teams who've done that and had the three. I remember back in the day when I covered the Jaguars, they had 3 guys they signed in transition tags, including Aeneas Williams, the cornerback, who was a great player. Every single one of them went back to the other team. So you don't like doing the work for the other team either.
I'll say this about Daniel Jones. Number one, he ain't 100% healthy. I mean, you can say what you want, but I ain't paying $40 million for Daniel Jones, healthy or injured. But I'll say this about Daniel Jones. He earned the respect of the guys in that locker room, and that's one of the hardest things to do in the National Football League. So for his sake, I hope he does end up with the Indianapolis Colts, gets back on the horse again, and has a good year, a healthy year.
Sometimes you're more valuable to your own team than you would be to a new team. And I think Daniel Jones knows that. I think the Colts know that, which is why I think he's ultimately going to get a long-term deal from them.
Now, when he was healthy, they were rolling earlier on this season, and we saw what happened to them after he got hurt. His top target, Alec Pierce, not tagged. Doesn't mean he's not going to be an Indianapolis Colt, but we had Jonathan Jones on earlier, and he said he's hearing from some teams that this guy could make maybe $40 million a year, which would be more than Daniel Jones would make on that transition tag. That would make him, put him top 2 in the NFL as far as wide receivers in payment.
I love Alec Pierce. That's getting crazy. Let's be real. You're getting crazy. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson.
Chase is the only one who makes $40 million.
Well, and he's a
and availability can dictate that.
He's not Smith and Jigba. He's not Puka Nacua. He's a good player, not a true number 1 wide receiver. He just isn't. I mean, look, I love the yards per catch. I'm a big yards per catch guy, and he's led the league 2 years in a row doing that. I mean, he's a big play threat. But you could also point to those catches. 37 and 47. You're going to pay a guy who's had that number of catches the last 2 years, that kind of money? I'm not doing it. You go through this list. Who's he better than on the list? He's not better than. Keep going. Let's go down.
I don't even think we have anybody past 10.
He's better than Ayuk. Because Brandon Ayuk doesn't want to play football, but
Brandon Ayuk is missing
he's
in
better than
action.
That's a bad contract that they gave him. He's better than Ayuk. McLaurin doesn't run like him, but some people would say McLaurin's better. But the point is, you're not paying him. I'm not paying him $40 million. I love the kid as a player. He was on my better than team way back in the day. But the reality is, he's not a $40 million a year wide receiver.
Is there a team desperate enough to do that?
There might be.
In the Northeast?
Because you see the vertical threat. You say to yourself, look, we're playing in a league now where offensive coordinators are scared of their own shadow. They don't throw the ball down the field.
You think Rams?
They let teams dictate to them. They don't have the money to be able to do that.
But that's the kind of guy you'd want.
That's the kind of guy you would want. Buffalo.
Patriots?
That's
Buffalo.
what I was thinking initially.
Buffalo,
Patriots.
Bills? Yeah.
Patriots. Those kind of teams. Drake May and Alec Pierce. I mean, Josh Allen and Alec Pierce. That would make.
Josh Allen downtown to Alec Pierce. I can see it now.
How about Patrick Mahomes and Alec Pierce? I mean, those are the kind of guys you want, guys who can stretch the field vertically. I love his game. I just don't think he's a true number 1 wide receiver. And if you're paying a number 2 receiver or a 1A receiver 1 money, sometimes you get in real problems with that.
If you could get Carnell Tate in the draft?
I would take Carnell Tate in the draft. Cheaper, younger. Doesn't run like that, though. He didn't run a great 40 time, but he's my number 1 wide receiver in the draft. I would take that before I would pay.
Volume catcher.
Yeah. I mean, you could find wide receivers. And I just don't think he's a true number one. I think he's a very, very good player. I just don't think he's a true number one.
If you are interested in mock drafts, the reason I asked that because Ryan Wilson in his latest one does have the Bills trading up to get Cardinal Tate. It's very interesting. Check that out on CBSSports.com. Okay, running back information today. So Super Bowl MVP, I just want to mention before you get to this guy, Breece Hall, the Seahawks will not be tagging him, but the Jets deciding to tag Breece Hall. Pete, your thoughts on this?
The money for him is right. He was the number one back on the market. There's no, at least in my mind, there was no question about that. He was better than ETN. He's better than Kenneth Walker. So I get this. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's got so much flexibility. But you get him, and what do you do with him when you don't have a quarterback? That's the problem. I mean, they don't have a quarterback, so he's going to have to do everything and anything until they decide what they're doing at quarterback. You hear Derek Carr's name mentioned. They might try and he might come out of retirement and pry him loose. I don't think the Jets are going to be a very good team with him or without him because of the quarterback position. So, look, is he a good back? Yes. Is he a great back? No. But he's one of those guys you want to keep around. I think tagging him was the right decision.
Yeah, they have a lot of needs in New York offensively, but one thing that they don't need is a guy named Breece Hall. He's already in the building. Keep him there. You run the football with him. You can throw with him. And to your point about the quarterbacks, I mean, you're going to be in a position a lot of times where you're going to be playing from behind, so that running back position gets devalued a little bit. But you need Breece Hall in your room.
Yeah, they're not winning with Breece Hall if they don't have the quarterback. I mean, let's be real. And you know what? They should. They should tank for next season. Get a quarterback.
Draft him, run him into the ground, get rid of him.
Tank for a quarterback.
So we had 4 tags on 4 different positions. Hall, the only running back. Daniel Jones, the only quarterback. Kyle Pitts, the only tight end. And George Pickens, the only wide receiver. How about the report? Keith? Oh, Keith. Pete?
Keith. I'm now Keith. Huh? Who's
I
Keith?
thought I was Keith.
Keith, where's Keith?
Get in here.
Keith and Kyle.
A report that the Cowboys are working on a long-term deal for George Pickens.
And that's the right thing to do, and I think they'll get a long-term deal done for him. I just don't see George Pickens being all happy about playing on the franchise tag, and we know when George Pickens isn't happy, that's not a good thing. He was happy last year. He played his best football. It's a great situation for him opposite CeeDee Lamb. And, you know, the Cowboys, they're all in this year, so it makes sense
Can they get this done, though? Like, I don't want to see, like, a Micah Parsons situation again.
Well, I think they'll get it done. You know, his agent is the Micah Parsons' agent, Mulligetta, so it's going to be a problem to negotiate that deal. But I think new Jerry Jones will get this deal done in large part because I think Pickens will be a problem if you don't get it done. Give him the contract, make him healthy, and then you might have not as much problems with him.
It's the right thing to do. Good luck guarding that guy. When I was playing, there was only a handful of players I would leave the bench to watch play. Okay, you know, like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, those guys. As a viewer of the sport, there's only 2 guys I would pay more money to watch play football: George Pickens and Myles Garrett. Okay, I think George Pickens, when he's on the field and the 6 inches between his ears is the right, space, that guy is unguardable and can't keep your eyes off television. I think for Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, it's the perfect move.
And by the way, I still think CeeDee Lamb's better than George Pickens, but it's nice to have both of them.
I ain't taking my eyes off Pickens,
No,
though.
but it's nice to have both of them. And when you balance the field, that's what they did last year. And they scored a lot of points. And when Dak Prescott plays good football, they can move the ball. The offensive line's good. They need to, run. They got Williams back to run the football. Now they can spend all their money on the defensive side of the ball in free agency and those 2 draft picks.
You mentioned Crosby.
I would,
if they trade for Crosby?
I would consider that. I would definitely consider that. But remember, they're changing their scheme, too, so it's going to be a different scheme. I don't know. Crosby might not fit perfectly.
Crosby is like water. He can take any form he wants.
I love him. I would, if I could get Max Crosby, I would go get him if I were a team in need of a pass rusher.
The big news that happened at 4 o'clock at the tag deadline wasn't about a tag. It was about a player that was cut, Kyler Murray. If you're redoing your free agent rankings, Pete, where would you place Kyler Murray?
Well, he would be close to this 10.
So he'd be the top quarterback.
He's the top quarterback. There's no question in my mind he's the top quarterback. My top quarterback was Daniel Jones, but he's better than Daniel Jones in my book, and I would take Kyler Murray over Daniel Jones. A lot of people wouldn't, but I'm in the minority on that. Plus, you're talking about a quarterback coming off an injury, big injury. That's an Achilles injury. How long did it take Aaron Rodgers to get back to being Aaron Rodgers after his Achilles? Remember that all talk? I'll come back in December that year. No chance. And it took him half the year.
Well, he's 40 and he was in the dark.
But it took him, But think about this, though, for a second. You're You're paying Daniel Jones $37 million a year ago. If you would have said that, people would have laughed you. Just laughed you off.
100%.
I mean, but that's how desperate teams are. Kyler Murray will have a market, and I think Kyler Murray would be the #1 free agent quarterback in this class for me.
And you said around number 10, though? Out of all
10,
of them?
he'd be up there.
Number
10.
one quarterback.
Number 1 quarterback, no question. Malik Willis, he's ahead of him.
Kenneth Walker?
He's ahead of him, too.
No, I'm asking where he would be.
Oh. Kenneth Walker was on my list. I forget where I put him, though.
It wasn't in the top 10.
No, nor should he be in the top 10.
No. But the reason we ask, because the Seahawks deciding not to tag the Super Bowl MVP and running back Kenneth Walker III, potential landing spots for him. Does he go back to Seattle? Does he land it somewhere else? We'll discuss that coming up. Free agency officially kicks off next week, and another huge name has been added to that list, the Super Bowl MVP.
Those are the Super Bowl stats?
Walker III. Those are his Super Bowl stats. He is coming off the best season of his career, played in all 17 regular season games. He was huge in the postseason, recording, this is before the Super Bowl, 417 scrimmage yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 playoff games. And then, of course, you get the stats you just saw there in the Super Bowl. Okay, so a lot of decisions for Kenneth Walker. Potentially could go back to the Seahawks, or look, he's going to hit the market there. What teams could potentially pay him? How much would they be willing to pay him? Taking a look at the highest paid running back, Saquon Barkley with the Eagles, they're sitting at the top, a little over $20 million. Pete Prisco, give us your thoughts on this. The Seahawks deciding not to tag the Super Bowl MVP.
I think it's the right decision. And again, it goes back to my philosophy on running backs. You draft them, you run them into the ground and get another one. And look, he was good in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. He had a good playoffs, but he was splitting carries last year for most of the season with Zach Charbonnet before he got hurt. So he clearly wasn't the bell cow back that everybody wants to portray him now, since he had such a good playoffs in the Super Bowl. In fact, his agent, who lives down here, David Cantor, I've known him a long time, was on the field after the game celebrating the MVP and was basking in it. And he said, what do you think? I go, what do you think you're going to get on the market? And I said, well, he's not better than James Cook. And James Cook didn't get $15 million a year. So, I mean, let's be real. Is he better than James Cook?
This is on the field at Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You are unbelievable.
Well, I got a random.
He's not better than James Cook. He's not better than my guy.
He's not better than James Cook.
What does the agent say at that point?
He goes, well, he's up now. You know, he kind of blew
the agents just short circuit. Like, they don't know what to do.
But the reality is he's not better than James Cook. And so there will be a market for him. Don't forget.
So what's he worth to you?
What did
you saw that list?
Javonte Williams just got.
Yeah,
what?
can we see the list again?
Javonte Williams just got, what, 12? I think he got a
So
year.
you don't think he should
13,
be paid as a top 5 running back?
13.
Hell no. Top 5 runner? No, absolutely not. He's not a top 5 runner.
All right, there's your top 5.
Okay, he's not better than Barkley. He's not better than McCaffrey. He's not better than Henry. He's not better than Breece Hall. And he's not better
So
than
put him at
Jonathan
$13 million.
Yeah, he's at 13. That's what James Cook said. $13 million.
And you know what? I think the point that Pete made about him splitting carries with Zach Charbonnet, it goes, unappreciated, underappreciated. When you're splitting carries, you don't necessarily have to be out there being the bell cow all the time. He got to do that in the playoffs, and he did a great job. Super Bowl MVP. I mean, it's evidenced in that. But to be able to do that for the entirety of the season, that's going to take a lot more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in Seattle, because Charbonnet will be back up there. They'll have 2 running backs. But there's a number of places that could use a guy like this running back.
There's no question. There's teams that are running back desperate right now and need a guy who can carry the football. So there's going to be a market for him. There's going to be a market for Travis Etienne as well. And there would have been a great market for Breece Hall had he hit the market. But the reality is what are they going to get? And I don't think they're getting to that $14 million per year.
And Breece Hall is more than a running back.
He can catch the ball out of the backfield.
And Breece Hall was tagged by the New York Jets, the franchise tag, one of 4 players who were tagged ahead of the deadline. Daniel Jones got the transition tag. All right, for Kenneth Walker, best landing spots. Pete, go.
Giants. I think when you look at what Harbaugh wants to do, and we don't Scadaboo is coming off that injury. We don't even know if he's the guy that can be the lead back for a team. He's a nice complementary piece. I don't know if he can be a lead back on a consistent basis, so you need another one.
Yeah, so you got Scadaboo going right up the middle, Walker bouncing it outside.
That's perfect. That's the way they run.
Going to be ready?
That's another question. How healthy is he? I mean, he was beat up pretty good. That was a bad leg injury, and how healthy is he going to be? So I think the Giants would make sense. We know what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to run the football, and if you can get a guy like Walker, I think that's ideal for them.
I mean, I love love this. I mean, they're getting Matt Nagy. They've got a young quarterback who at times can be a bit heady, and everybody's like, hey, get the hell off the ground, Jackson Dart. They've got a running back in Cam Scadaboo who's got an addiction to, hammering his head into the wall pregame. He's a little unstable, kind of guy that I would love to block for. But you know what's great? Having two of those types of guys, Kenneth Walker taking the load off of Scadaboo, keeping Scadaboo available, keeping Jackson Dart off the ground. I think that would be a good one. If they don't go him, Jeremiah Love at the 5 spot, get another running back in New York.
See, personally, before I would pay Kenneth Walker, if I were the Giants or any other team, I'd go into the draft and find a guy like the running back at Nebraska, Emmett Johnson. I think I'd find a guy like that somewhere down the line back who could come
Solid.
in. Yeah, good player. Not a great player, but will give you good.
Now, the one that's really spicy to me, the landing spot that's really spicy to me, and I think the straw that stirred the drink in Kansas City was their physical running game. I think about a guy like this ending up in a place like Kansas City. Eric Bieniemy back in the building for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to be with an unhealthy at first Patrick Mahomes. They're talking about him back early. Your offense is going to need to lean into that run game. They do not have the stable in Kansas City in the running back room right now.
Don't you think Travis Etienne fits the Chiefs better than Kenneth Walker does?
I think he could. I think Travis
Etienne catches the ball out of the backfield.
Remember Jerick McKinnon?
Yeah.
So Jerick McKinnon, like I would say Etienne is like a mile past McKinnon, but they come from the same tree. They can do it all.
Yeah.
Third down back, first down back. They need those guys in droves.
Yeah, I think Etienne would. You hear rumblings that Etienne might wind up in Kansas City.
Okay, Kyle, you're also going with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think they're getting rid of Connor. They're blowing the whole thing up pretty much in Arizona. And what's one thing you need? You're going to need somebody to run the football, keep you on schedule, first and second down. Whoever the hell's playing quarterback there, it'll be nice to have a guy like Kenneth Walker.
Okay, going back to your whole Trey Hendrickson wants to go to a winning team. How attractive is that, going from a Super Bowl winning team to the Cardinals? You don't know who your quarterback is going to be.
Either way, behind him on every Zoom call is the Super Bowl MVP thing and the Lombardi Trophy. So, I mean, you get to go win at the top of the mountain, and then you get to go build something up. I think it would be a cool experience. And also, Arizona is good living in the wintertime.
And you get paid.
What are the chances that even though the Seahawks aren't using the tag on him, that he returns to Seattle?
I mean, I could see it. Sometimes these things fall through, and the numbers, the dollars and cents of it all doesn't make sense league-wide, and then you end up saying, well, your locker's going to stay the same next year. I'm not sure what the fiscal end of it would be, but they'd be happy to have him back.
But here's the thing with the Seahawks. What's the strength of that football team? It was the defense. And when you look at their free agents, Kobe Bryant, the safety, unrestricted free agent. Woolen, the corner, unrestricted free agent. Jobe, the other corner, unrestricted free agent. So I think ideally in their thinking is, we'll use our money on our defensive side of the ball, try and keep as many of those guys as we can, as long as it doesn't get unreasonable, and go win again with defense, and we'll put another
Go
running
get the
back
guy
back
from
in.
Nebraska.
You draft him, you run him into the ground, you let him win Super Bowl MVP, and you let him walk.
You sit him right here next to us.
It's taken you a long time, but you finally have come through with that. You
Is
believe
that
it.
him like realizing it, or
He believes in it now.
whatever?
He
I will
believes in
say,
it now.
reports from local New York media, they are interested in getting another running back along with Cam Scadaboo.
Yeah, that's what Pete thought that the landing spot should be. The New York Giants for Kenneth Walker, first running back to win Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis of the Broncos.
One of those isn't like the others, by the way. Kenneth Walker is that one.
Pete.
It isn't like any of the others.
He just celebrated.
He's no Larry Zonka.
He's not Zonka. Larry Zonka's a Hall of Famer. Harris is a Hall of Famer. Riggins is a Hall of Famer. Allen's a Hall of Famer. Otis Anderson was a great back that year. He wasn't. He just had a lot of good games.
Remind me when
Emmitt
I
Smith
need
is a
a,
Hall
like,
of
a
Famer.
pick-me-up
Terrell
never
Davis is a
to
Hall of
come to
Famer.
you.
And
Never
Kenneth
to come to
Walker
you.
will not be. I can guarantee you that.
Hall of very good for one game.
Hall of good. That's what he'll be.
Yeah.